Hey guys, it's Vanessa with Farm Girl Gardens and Market, and I have all 4 of my humans sleeping right now. So I never get to do sunset videos, and I wanted to share this one with you. This is a garden installation demonstration that I don't typically actually share that much of. This is, if you were a standard suburban backyard homeowner, this is a raised bed demonstration. Typically most backyard gardeners in the suburbs are doing raised beds. I know, let me get out of the sun. I know some people have like elitist opinions on raised beds. I don't. I think that you should grow in any capacity that you can, whether that's a pot, a fancy raised bed, or even just straight in the ground. The secret is the soil fertility. If you have abundant living microbiota in your soil, then your food is alive and healthy. And so you don't have to be so concerned. A lot of people are concerned, can you use metal beds in Texas? The refraction of heat and the effects of that. And yes, you can use metal beds. You always have to be careful. But just don't overthink it, because I feel like sometimes, especially now, I get a lot more questions from people that they just want to start and they're so intimidated that they don't do it. So just start, y'all. Just start. Whatever seed you have, get it out, get it growing, because it's the only way out is through. You have to try. So now that that's over, let's get in here. Okay, so these are some raised metal beds. They're actually the Salandero model. If you're into the raised metal beds that you can order on Amazon, that's what this one is. And I do recommend that you fill them differently. If you're going to be working in a raised metal bed in Texas, then yes, you need to be concerned about heat and how this bed will do with soil fertility. So what that looks like for me is that I use all of our sources of carbon on the farm. Because this is a small bed, the sources of carbon and nitrogen are going to be small. So I'm talking about like twig size, y'all, like your thumb. Start off the base with heavy cardboard, and then those twigs, those thumb-sized twigs, and then all of your green waste. I'm talking everything out of your animal systems that's nitrogen-based. I'm talking the leftover salad that you're never gonna eat. Get that in there and start layering it. And if you can layer it all the way and then just let it sit fallow for a season, that's the best thing. If you can't do that, get it halfway. Ultimately, I would like to see us growing in like 12 to 24 inches height, because that's really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in water conservation and the ability for that bed to be fertile and not just bone dry all the time. Because this is layered, carbon and nitrogen in like a lasagna style, it's acting as a wicking bed, right? So it's really a great system, because you've used up all of your waste and your carbon that you have around your property. Carbon that might look like your dried grass, your leaves, your newspaper shred, your browns, right? It's a really good way of getting rid of materials, of building abundant soil and not having to purchase it, and also making this bed, the metal material, a little more efficient in the summer. So another thing that I like to do is plant a little bit of everything everywhere, because that's kind of what Mother Nature does. So I figure it works for her, it'll work for us. And to me, lots of marigolds, lots of aromatics. I do have a little bit of a problem with peppers here, because we really just don't get enough sun. And that's another thing to consider. In the summer, this side of my house largely is in shade. In the winter, it's in sun. So a metal bed here is a really good use. I am in sun, so let me get out of that for you. Another thing that I like to do, mamas, is just hide stuff in the garden. I like to hide little bee waters. I'm actually going to show you how to do that in one of my AgriStem activity kits. I've got to get away from that sun. Is that driving you crazy? It's driving me crazy. Look at this. This is so fun. Do you see that little guy? I mean, I haven't pruned my thyme in a while, but here's a little fairy garden carrot. Another thing, y'all, like if something does well, buy more of it in different types. So this is a variegated lemon thyme, and this is just a standard lemon thyme. They both essentially taste the same and smell the same, but they look a lot different, and so that diversity is just beautiful. I think a lot of us sometimes focus more on the utility of gardening, which is important. I mean, yes, let's pack in as many plants as we can. There are good reasons for that. But we also need to focus on the aesthetics, because we're putting all of our time and our effort and our money into it. So we want it to look pretty. We want it to be that third space that invites us outside and helps us calm down, helps us have some space out here. Sweet potatoes, y'all, let's do this. Do you see this one? Okay, this is an example of a mixed bed. I've got some variegated purple sage, sweet potatoes, and marigolds, and more thyme actually in the back. This bed is packed. What I love about sweet potatoes in Texas is you just can't kill them. They love the heat, and really, they're just a beautiful plant. So if you are in an HOA, one of the things I always advise my edible garden clients that have HOAs is edible can be ornamental if it's pretty. So this is just like the ornamental sweet potato vine. Nobody's going to know any different, and so instead of you tilling up your soil to plant nothing, plant something that gives you nothing, you'll be digging up your soil to dig up your sweet potatoes in the fall. And HOA can't say anything about that. Looks the same as anything else, right? So another thing that we've got in here is some pineapple sage. The same principle. If it does well in your space, just grow a bunch of it in different varieties. Pineapple sage is sometimes hard to find. If you are in the Lucas, Allen, Fairview area, Puckett's, that's what it's called. Puckett's Nursery. Gosh, I wish I had better sense of direction right now. Look it up. Puckett's Nursery, I'm going to tag them or try and link something to them because there's like a mom and pop operation, so I'm not even sure if they have a Facebook. But gosh, they cultivate some beautiful things. That's actually where I got the purple variegated sage and the pineapple sage. And the pineapple sage does, not that you can smell this, gosh, I wish you could. It smells like pineapple and it's awesome. What do you do with all this sage, right? Because we're growing it, it's pretty, but what are you doing with it? We donate a lot of it because a lot of our nonprofit clients that receive farm shares from us use a lot of herbs in cooking because that's a great way to get taste and boost flavor, especially if you're working with a meat that maybe not the best quality. But what we do, we dry and bundle it. It's great to throw a bundle in the fireplace over winter. Smells really wonderful. Also can clear your house if you're into that sort of stuff. And butter, y'all. Fry it in butter. Okay, fry it in olive oil, which is like a tiny bit of butter, so you get the butter taste, but you don't feel guilty. And fry it. So crispy fried sage over noodles. Really good, really quick. I actually kind of want some right now. But that is just an example of a raised bed garden. I'm short, so it's hard for me to do this and have you have like a real perspective. Do you see that? Yeah. So not even a lot of space. I want to say this one's 20 by 20. But I hope that that is enjoyable to you, worth something, and that you're doing well. Until next time. Bye, y'all.